On the y-axis we have inflation, on the x-axis we have unemployment. Quite intuitively, when the unemployment increases, the prices are supposed to come down, and when the unemployment is high, that means people have higher amount of disposable incomes, and therefore inflation rate must go up. This part, Nairu or the long run Phillips curve, suggests the long run curve because in the longer run the level of unemployment remains the same. Because an economy, good or bad, the companies would eventually respond to the situation and the unemployment levels would settle at a stable rate regardless of the inflation. That is the concept explained here. So now let's look at the questions here. I am at the explanations slide, so I don't have all the answer choices here. However, let me explain how this option makes sense. From point A to point B, what is causing prices to increase further? From point A to point B, as I just explained, as the unemployment rate decreases, people must be having higher amount of disposable income, and therefore this would cause the inflation to increase. So the correct answer choice would be something like lower unemployment or higher disposable income. Of course, higher disposable income was not an answer choice here because this curve doesn't talk about income at all. It only talks about the unemployment rate and inflation. So among the given choices, lower unemployment is the best choice. Let's look at the second part of the question here now. From point B to point C, what causes unemployment rates to return to the Nairu level? Point B to point C, from here to here. So see what's happening. From point A to point B, the inflation has increased, the unemployment has decreased, rather vice versa. Because unemployment has decreased, the inflation has increased, so there are very high costs that probably the employers have to bear, and therefore they need to shell off some of the workforce. So they shell off the workforce. This doesn't necessarily decrease the inflation. The inflation remains the same. However, the unemployment is increasing. So what has actually led to the new Phillips curve? This is, see, the unemployment is increasing here, although the inflation is not changing. So this is probably because the rates have increased, companies have to pay greater salaries and all, greater costs overall, and therefore they need to decrease the workforce, which increases the unemployment, although the inflation doesn't change. And that is why it comes to this point, which is on the long run Phillips curve. So let's look at the answer choice, higher costs. So yes, because of higher inflation, the costs increase, and therefore some employees are left out, and eventually therefore point B shifts to point C, right? And therefore higher cost is a logical answer choice here. The right combination of answers, lower unemployment and higher costs.